You are watching No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and these are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and you know what's driving me crazy? What's driving me crazy is the continued unfair, one-sided coverage of the presidential campaign. Now, that's to be expected. We know the mainstream media is liberal. We know on whose side they are, which is, in case you didn't know, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. That's whose side they're on. They're in the tank for them. They're electioneering, and it's not fair. And we see that in all aspects of TV coverage of the election. So let's start out with this video. I want you to take a look.
Have a safe one.
We got everybody milkshakes, didn't we?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Got everybody?
Yes, they're in the car, sir.
All right.
You got them. See, look.
Mr. Biden, what flavor did you get?
We got one vanilla, one chocolate, but I wanted to get what we call black and white, but we're going to move it. In other words, we're going to split it.
And one more.
So you saw that. Joe Biden is asked, what flavor did you get? And he answers vanilla. Figures. He is a very vanilla guy. And that's his whole campaign. Vote for me. I'm nice. I'm vanilla. I don't want media attention. I'm not Donald Trump. I won't shake things up. Vote for me. I'm vanilla. So he got asked what flavor of ice cream. Nothing about Hunter Biden. Now, we did tell you yesterday that a CBS reporter, so now at least it's getting into the mainstream media, a CBS reporter did ask him about Hunter Biden's emails, and of course, he would not address them. He would not acknowledge whether or not they're real, which we know that they are, because if these weren't real, they would have said they're not real. They would have denied it. So would have Hunter Biden specifically. They would have specifically said, these are not my emails. These are not my emails, Joe Biden, with Hunter arranging this meeting with these Burisma people and with the Attorney General of Ukraine to get him fired or to get him off the Burisma case. We know that if these were fake, they would have said so, and they've never said so. And now there is more evidence that they're real, and we'll get to that in a second. But I want to show you this video of Kamala Harris. Check this out. Look at this video of her. This is her in Florida on the first day of early voting. So she's there on the first day of early voting, and we did have audio to go with this video. Look at her. Oh, she's so cool with her, I don't know what they are, Vans or Converse Chuckies, I don't know, Chuck Taylors, who knows. But she's getting off the plane. There are reporters there. You see a camera right there. And we didn't provide audio because all you can hear is the engine of the plane. Now, why is that all you can hear? Well, I'll tell you why. Because she wasn't asked any questions on this first day of early voting in Florida. She wasn't asked anything. She wasn't asked, Kamala, Senator Harris, what is it that you think of these emails? Should a vice president who basically used his position to make his son rich, should they become the next president of the United States? Should he become that? What do you think about these emails? They should be asking her that, but they're not. And they're not asking her about anything else. Kamala, why do you still have a tweet up on your Twitter account asking for bail money for violent protesters? These protests are still going on. You don't see it on TV news because they're in the tank for Joe Biden and they know it won't be good for him. But Kamala, why are you still asking for bail money, for bond money, to get out of jail these violent protesters who have killed police, who have looted businesses, who have burnt down buildings? Why do you still have that tweet up? Kamala, why? Why? Nobody asks her anything. Not a single question. All you can hear is the engine of the plane. And that's basically tantamount to, what flavor did you get, Joe Biden? Trump would never be asked, what flavor did you get? And if he was asked that and he answered vanilla or chocolate, If he answered vanilla, they would say he's racist because he didn't get chocolate. And if he answered chocolate, they would say, oh, he's a hypocrite because he's culturally appropriating a color, but yet he's not good to black people and chocolate people. That's what they would say, and you know it, and I know it. But of course, they would never ask him that. He would never get silence getting off the plane. Do you think Mike Pence would get silence getting off the plane while campaigning? No, never. They would ask him tough questions, gotcha questions, and you know it, and I know it. So meanwhile, the Hunter Biden story. It turns out that in fact there's even more proof that this story that social media giants, the tech giants, Facebook and Twitter and others have tried to suppress, this story about how there were emails found on a laptop of Hunter Biden's, allegedly of Hunter Biden, but now there's more proof that it was from Hunter Biden, arranging these meetings, arranging to get paid by Burisma, and working with Joe Biden on this whole thing. And we know Joe Biden was in the tank for this. Listen, Burisma did not hire this guy by accident. There are no coincidences that a guy who's a loser, who got discharged from the Army for doing cocaine, who got dishonorably discharged from the Army for doing cocaine, that this guy all of a sudden with no energy expertise or oil expertise is on the, or Ukraine expertise, is on the board of Burisma when Joe Biden is the Obama point man on Ukraine, is in control of all their aid, all their armaments that they're getting from us, and so on. There is no coincidence, and you know these emails are true, and here is more evidence. So listen to this. There was the FBI contact, and this is an article that was in the Daily Mail. There was FBI contract, a receipt from the Mac shop in Wilmington, Delaware, appears to show Hunter Biden's signature for work on 3 laptops for $85. That looks like his signature. It has not been verified, but it looks a lot like his signature. And there's FBI paperwork which shows that the shop owner, John Paul Mac Isaac, received a subpoena to testify before the U.S. District Court in Delaware in December 2019. Dun, dun, dun. You know what that means? That means that since December 2019, this has been under investigation by the FBI and a federal grand jury. That's why there's this subpoena. And so this story, there is more and more evidence that it is true. And Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe said the laptop is not a Russian disinformation campaign. So you heard it. This guy has access to this. This guy, John Ratcliffe, is the chief intelligence person for the Trump White House. So if this were fake, he would say so. He is not a go-along to get along guy. He's not a yes man to Trump. And Biden's campaign not only not deny, I hate talking not, the Biden campaign will not acknowledge that these are fake emails, or they will not say these are fake emails, which means they're real. They are not denying the emails. All they will say is the Democrat nominee engaged in no wrongdoing. By the way, a lot of people have speculated $85. What? Hunter Biden could not afford $85 to pick up 3 laptops. And why does he have 3? But let's say he couldn't afford the $85. No, it's not that. He had the millions from Burisma and from the Chicoms from China. So he had money to pick these up. It's just that when you're a cocaine addict, which he was, and we've seen no evidence he's cured from that, except Joe Biden saying so. When you're a cocaine addict, that destroys certain parts of the brain, including probably memory centers. And he probably just forgot because he's a cokehead. So when we come back, we have a whole lot more about this story, about what's coming up in this debate on Thursday and the moderator, and about another Trump critic. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
As the mayor of Bismarck, I invite you to join together today and stand united in the fight to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Case counts are steadily on the rise in the Bismarck-Mandan metro area, so please do your part. Protect yourself and others by wearing a mask when you're not at home. During the pandemic response, scientists have determined wearing a mask is a benefit to you and to those around you. This help keeps others from getting sick and may lessen the severity of illness if you were infected with COVID-19. We're all in this together. So let's get kids back to school, preserve our local economy, and keep our community strong. Let's show everyone how we come together to keep Bismarck the safe, resilient community we know and love. For more information, visit health.nd.gov/coronavirus. That's health.nd.gov/coronavirus.
Beck Communications is honored to be recently recognized with 3 Broadband Now awards. Beck Communications Cooperative was awarded in the categories of Top Internet Speeds Nationwide, Top 3 Fastest Internet Providers in North Dakota, and North Dakota's #1 fastest fiber provider. It's only through the support of our members and customers that Beck Fiber delivers award-winning speeds and service. Thank you, Beck Communications Cooperative members and customers, for your years of continued support.
Introducing Accord Comfort Sleep Systems, a better way to sleep. We offer you 5 different models to give you the perfect choice of support and body comfort. Every model begins with our exclusive Accord Comfort Reflex Layer. This ensures proper spinal alignment and a deep down body relief. Our 8-inch Whisper Breeze provides a medium firm feel, and our 10-inch Gentle Night model has a quilted top, giving you a medium plush comfort. Both use Outlast fabric on the top of your mattress, ensuring that your body temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Our Copper Rest Sleep Series is our premier mattress, offering your choice of firm, plush, and luxury plush. Every model uses copper-infused gel latex and provides all the health benefits of copper. Accord Comfort mattresses are handcrafted in the USA and come with a 60-night sleep guarantee. You're going to love sleeping with us. Order today exclusively at accordsleep.com or Tom's Home Furnishings in beautiful downtown Harvey.
Is your business phone system outdated and expensive to maintain? Most large VoIP companies leave you on hold or struggling through online support and training for your employees. With Beck Connect, you always have fast, friendly, local support. Familiar faces with the know-how to keep you connected. Take advantage of the newest technology in voice calling, video conferencing, and virtual meeting rooms. Beck Connect gives you all the features you need with no upfront investment and no obsolete hardware or software ever again. Simplify your communications. Choose local. Choose Beck Connect.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, we were talking about the Hunter Biden email story and the laptop and the $85 and his signature on either receipt or a document acknowledging the $85 in some respect with regard to the laptop. And as we have discussed a few days ago, the social media giants, the tech giants, Facebook and Twitter, both tried to silence this story. In fact, when I tried to go to it on Twitter, it told me it's harmful and I can't see it. They not only shut down the New York Post account for a while, I don't know if it's back up, but they did that, but they also tried to suppress people's tweets. And then Facebook also admitted, an official of Facebook admitted openly that yes, we are putting a damper on its distribution on Facebook, and we're taking it out of the normal progression where if somebody reports it, then we're going to investigate it, and if we find it's false, we'll take it down. They just already basically took it down by limiting its distribution and silencing the article. Well, guess what? Anytime you make something forbidden, as we saw in the prohibition with alcohol, you make it that much more desirable and everybody wants it. And the same goes for this story. So they were idiots, Twitter and Facebook, because this story still would have been a big deal, but it probably wouldn't have been as big of a deal. And now, because of that, it's been shared, even despite the damper on this, millions of times. So Axios, which is a liberal website, it was founded and it's headed by a number of Washington Post former political reporters. Look at that graphic of the stories tracked on social media interactions by Newswhip from October 12th to October 19th. Number one, the Hunter Biden report. And the New York Post story is 2.6 million. And then Above that is more to 4.7 million, which is more about it. But just the 2.6 million is just the specific New York Post story, and the additional 2.1 million over there, that is from other stories about it. And then look at what's number 2. Facebook and Twitter acting against the New York Post story, 2.8 million. So listen, by trying to silence the story, they made it that much bigger. They turned it into alcohol during the Prohibition. So good going, tech giants. The problem is that while they didn't prevent this story from getting out there, they can do that with other stories, and they tried with this one. And I guarantee you, if they had not tried to suppress it, there might have been even a lot, I can't guarantee, but I believe there would have been a lot more sharing of this story. Even though they made it more desirable and they made it forbidden fruit, I think it would have been shared even more. It just maybe wouldn't have been as big of a deal as they turned it into. And so, good. I'm glad the story is getting out there. The problem, again, is other things are not getting out there that we don't know about, because not everybody has a megaphone like the New York Post and the people who follow it. It's one of the 5 most popular newspapers in America. Wall Street Journal, USA Today, New York Times, New York Post, and I forgot what else is in there, but that's pretty much USA Today, I think I mentioned. Washington Post, I think, is up there. So that's that story. Now, there's another story that is, maybe you've seen it. If you haven't, you need to see this. President Trump has been complaining about Kristen Welker, the moderator of Thursdays this week. So we're talking a couple days from now, the final presidential debate. She's the moderator. She's an NBC News reporter. And President Trump is absolutely right to trash her, because moderator usually means somebody impartial, who's going to be fair to both sides. They are even-handed. But she is not even-handed. She comes into this as basically being in the tank for the Democratic Party, not only through herself, but through her parents. I want you to take a look at this video where she is caught feeding stories to Hillary and Obama officials before her hit time on the air. Check this out.
Much. We go right to Kristen Welker. Kristen, go ahead.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you about Flynn.
Kristen, go ahead. You're live. Kristen Welker in the spin room. I believe she has the Clinton communications director with her. Go ahead, Kristen.
Okay, thank you. I think this is his last question.
You know, we have Kristen Welker. We're looking at her. She couldn't quite hear me before. Can you hear me now? If you can, go ahead.
Hey, Ari, I'm here with Communications Director Jen Palmieri for the Clinton campaign. So, Jen, your initial reaction to tonight's debate, very fiery.
Very fiery, also very substantive. I think it was probably the most substantive exchange that we've had. Also, if there were a little bit of fireworks, but I think that it was useful because we think what was ultimately...
Ari, I can hear you. I'm here with Communications Director Jen Palmieri. Can you guys hear me back in the studio?
Yes, we're on a delay, but go ahead.
Can you guys hear what we're saying here?
Yes.
Okay, here with Communications Director Jen Palmieri.
See, she gave her a rehearsal. Not only did she say, I'm going to ask you blah, 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 but then she gave her rehearsal for her practice run of what her answer was going to be. By the way, Jen Palmieri that she interviewed there, so she was a top official in the Obama White House and does not know that substantive is not a word. There is substantive, but there's no substantive that she kept saying. So she was a top Obama White House official, and then she was a top official of the Hillary Clinton campaign. She was the communications director, and you saw that. Not only was told what she'd be asked, but got a dress rehearsal. That is a no-no in journalism. You never give your questions ahead of time, especially if you're a legitimate journalist. People are supposed to be put on the spot. They're supposed to not know what they're going to be asked. They can be told topics, but not the exact questions, let alone a dress rehearsal. You think they would ever get that? The Trump campaign would get that from any NBC reporter, let alone anybody from any of the major networks, including Fox News? I guarantee you they would not. Never. That's a no-no, but she's in the tank for them. So that's her. Now there's some information about her parents, Harvey and Julie Welker. So Harvey Welker, very wealthy guy. Julie Welker, his wife and her mom, is a very prominent, wealthy real estate executive. And so listen to these campaign donations that they made. Her parents, Kristen Welker, $20,000 to Barack Obama. All right, $3,300 to the Biden campaign, to this campaign. $2,100 to the Hillary campaign. An additional $7,300 to the Democratic National Committee to date. So some of this money is recent. It's in 2020. She has never disclosed this. I watch NBC Nightly News from time to time. I watched her reports. I have never once heard her say, oh, you know what? I give Democrats the questions ahead of time. I let them have dress rehearsals. And my parents are funding the opponents. But I'm going to be a fair moderator. There's no such thing with this woman, not even close. Now, yes, you're not responsible for what your parents do. And there are conservative parents with liberal kids. There are liberal parents with conservative kids, though that unfortunately happens less often. But her parents are in the tank, and you have to disclose that. If you are a legitimate, respected journalist, or you want to be, you have to disclose these things. And again, you can't do dress rehearsals with the team that you're really shilling for, which is what she's doing. And despite the president's criticism, or I should say to blunt it, I've heard anchors on all the networks, not just NBC, saying that she's a legitimate, respected journalist. No, she isn't. No such thing. She is respected by liberals. All of these things are legitimate criticisms. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some other things that are going to go out in the debate, specifically with the microphone, and what happened to a Miami police officer regarding his mask. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
I just went in for a regular mammogram, and I found out that I had a little tumor.
Through the exam and the biopsy, it was determined that I had cancer.
I got a call from one of my doctors that I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
After 5 years, they found a local reoccurrence.
The first thing you hear when you're told you have a cancer, it's a little daunting because you don't know where to go with it.
Since 1999, in a partnership between CHI St. Alexius Health and Sanford Health Bismarck, the Bismarck Cancer Center has provided the most advanced radiation therapies and holistic support services for cancer patients and their loved ones for 20 years.
I've been at the Bismarck Cancer Center since it started. I actually was in the basement of Med Center 1 before, when we had old machines and old equipment. And thankfully, the two hospitals at the time, St. Alexius and Med Center 1, joined forces to create the Bismarck Cancer Center.
I walk in the door, I get nothing but hugs, and I was marveled at them. I mean, I thought it was the best place in the world.
The staff is unbelievably compassionate, and they explain everything to you.
Everybody's genuinely concerned about your well-being, and the level of care is just top-notch. The Cancer Center just does such an amazing job of helping people.
To me and my family, the Cancer Center means life. It's given me the ability to live out my life with my family, my wife, my children, my grandchildren.
Because of them, I'm 2 years out, get to move on with my life, make a difference now for other people.
I would recommend this center because the minute you walk through that door, they've got your back.
This center means so much to me and to the people that are in this building, and we just want to keep giving it back to the community and providing for them what they need.
I'm Katie. I've been cancer-free for 2 years.
I'm Steve, and I've been cancer-free for 4 years.
I've been cancer-free for 10 years.
10 years.
11 years.
15 years.
My name is Lainey, and I've been cancer-free for 18 years.
Bismarck Cancer Center, your partner against cancer for 20 years.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private.
Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So, before the break, we were talking about Thursday night's debate and Kristen Welker and how she's not fair, she's not partial, she's a Democrat operative, and so are her parents. Well, here's something else that's not fair. So, because President Trump interrupted, and Joe Biden interrupted plenty at the last debate, remember, will you shut up, man? Will you just shut up, man? He was interrupting him. So there were many interruptions on both sides. Maybe the president interrupted more. In fact, not maybe, he did. But still, that's his debate style. So what? Well, because the people hosting the debate, the Commission on Presidential Debates, is very liberal for the most part. They pretend that they're impartial, but their Republican members are these establishment types like Frank Fahrenkopf, who was the head of the Republican National Committee when Republican establishment type George H.W. Bush was in power and raised taxes, those kind of people. So the debate is going to silence microphones. So each candidate apparently, for the first 2 minutes of each question, their opponent, when they're talking, is going to have his or her microphone silenced. So if they ask a question and Joe Biden's talking, Trump's microphone will be silenced for the first 2 minutes, and vice versa. I don't like that at all because it's boring. You do want the interaction. You do want the interruptions. Maybe not so much as the other night, but you want that. Now, maybe it will be to Trump's advantage because nobody will be able to accuse him of interrupting too much. We'll be able to say, Joe Biden had 2 minutes. What, he couldn't answer the question? Just like he didn't answer the question about whether he supports packing the court, and he's waiting till half the country has already voted to let us know, which, who cares? By that time, it's like, why are you such a chicken? Why are you hiding? But he has 2 minutes to talk. So he can't accuse the president of getting in his way. He can't say, will you shut up, man? But I bet he will. And the president won't be accused of interrupting. But he still will be. You know how the media works. I just don't like this whole silence for 2 minutes. There has to be interaction. It's not a monologue. It's not a Socratic debate in law school. This is a presidential debate. So I don't like it, but fine. If that's what it takes, fine. They don't know if the president is showing up to this debate. He says that he will. I hope he will. I think it's a good chance for him to show that he's not what the media is saying about him. He's not a constant interrupter. He has things to say, and Joe Biden doesn't, and Joe Biden is going to dodder around, which is what President Trump should let him do. Let him step in it, as he often does. You know what, that town hall last week, Joe Biden was boring when nobody was interrupting him, and he got softball questions from George Stephanopoulos and these fake undecided voters. Now, speaking of something else, in Miami, a police officer named Daniel Ubeda, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Ubeda, he is in trouble. Why? Because of a mask he wore, and I think we have a picture of it. He wore a Trump mask, and he was near a polling place. So, oh no, a police officer who is a public servant, so has free speech, has First Amendment rights, last time I checked, he can't express those. I guarantee you, if that sign, if that mask said Biden Harris, guess what? Nobody would care, except you and me. Nobody would complain. Nothing would have happened to him. But instead, he's being disciplined. That's how it works. It's one way or the highway. You got to be in the tank for Joe Biden or forget it. By the way, you cannot blame police officers for supporting the president. He's the one that stands for law and order. And Joe Biden stands for the rioters, the looters, the killers rioting on the streets, which is still going on, who are targeting police officers, who call them pigs, who have signs out there that say ACAB, and I can't say what it stands for except, oh, I think I'm allowed to now. All cops are bastards. They have signs like that. That's who Joe Biden stands for. And Kamala Harris still has, as I said earlier in the show, tweets up on her account asking people to donate to bail out, to bond out these violent protesters who have attacked the police. You cannot blame the police for wearing signs like that. I'll tell you who I do blame for things. Well, Jeffrey Toobin. So there's a great hashtag going out on Twitter yesterday and today, last night, today, when the story broke about Jeffrey Toobin, that guy. He works for CNN. He's a huge anti-Trump critic. He's a kind of a sleazeball, cheated on his wife, had a kid with his extramarital girlfriend, tried to pressure her to get an abortion. I think there were issues with his child support as well. He's just a lowlife, this guy. But he tries to pretend he's more moral than anybody else. And he wrote this book against President Trump called True Crimes and Misdemeanors. Well, he committed a crime and misdemeanor yesterday, because guess what he did? Or maybe it was the day before. He was on a Zoom call with his co-workers from The New Yorker, where he's also on staff. He has been suspended both from that publication and from CNN, where he's a contributor, because he was not only exposing himself, which was the first story that came out, but he actually was, to put it delicately, pleasuring himself on Zoom, and everybody saw. So now the liberal media, who if President Trump or any of the Trump kids or any Trump advisor did this, they would be calling for the person's ouster, for their criminal prosecution, because remember, exposing yourself is a criminal act. They would be calling for that. They're calling for us to have compassion and empathy for Jeffrey Toobin, who had no compassion or empathy for President Trump or any of the members of his family. So I'm sorry. All you have to do is look at his book, True Crimes and Misdemeanors, The Investigation of Donald Trump. And he, by the way, supported the impeachment and so on, and the removal of the president from office, which never happened. He wasn't compassionate. He wasn't empathic towards the president or his family, not even close. So there's this great hashtag going on Twitter and Facebook today that is viral and trending, and it is Me Toobin. But yeah, it was mine, but I actually think it's pretty clever. Me Toobin. So Jeffrey Toobin will never look at you, or hopefully we don't have to look at you, because ew, the same way again. Now, something else that is kind of criminal, and it is the lies told by Joe Malkoon. So who's Joe Malkoon? Well, take a look at this video, and you'll see who Joe Malkoon is.
Everywhere I go, people have a story about the Blind Pig. The Blind Pig has been one of those clubs that attract artists from all genres. For 50 years, the Blind Pig has been open and crowded, but right now it's an empty room. This is the reality of Trump's COVID response. We don't know how much longer we can survive not having any revenue. A lot of restaurants and bars that have been mainstays for years will not make it through this. This is Donald Trump's economy. There's no plan, and you don't know how to go forward. It makes me so angry. My only hope for my family and for this business and my community is that Joe Biden wins this election. That's the kind of president we need.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
All right, when we come back, we'll tell you why that ad is criminally dishonest and just ridiculous. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Bismarck Central, 4800.
4800, go ahead.
Requesting social services on-call team.
Stand by. 4800 social services requesting additional information.
You can advise social services that we have a 18-month-old female who was in a residence with a mother, now being transported to medical care for overdose.
Trusting your digital life to faceless tech giants can be risky. Will they keep your family and business information truly safe from prying eyes? If you subscribe to local Beck Lightband Internet service, you already have Beck Cloud Backup. Beck Cloud Backup is the safest, most private cloud storage for all your family memories, schoolwork, and business documents. Call 701-475-2361 to start using your free space on Beck Cloud Backup today.
You just might find the home of your dreams this weekend by watching the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes Sundays at 6 p.m. and Wednesdays at 7 on Beck, featuring properties from Bismarck, Mandan, Minot, and surrounding areas. The Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes presents desirable properties that are for sale, lets you meet your Alliance realtors, and provides critical insights into local happenings from community and business leaders. Join us this Sunday evening at 6 or Wednesday at 7 for the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes on Beck.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
As the mayor of Bismarck, I invite you to join together to get our kids back to school, preserve our local economy, and keep Bismarck safe, strong, and resilient. A community task force has been launched to slow the spread of COVID-19 in our community. We're all in this together. Protect yourself and others by doing your part. Wear a mask when you're out and about, and slow the spread of COVID-19. For more information, visit health.nd.gov/coronavirus.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. Now, before the break, we showed you this ad from Joe Biden featuring Joe Malkoon, who is the owner of the Blind Pig Bar in Ann Arbor. Now, I happen to be a University of Michigan graduate. I used to hang out at the Blind Pig. It was a legendary bar before he purchased it. It used to have all kinds of new bands that were up and coming that would make it big. And it was just a really cool, fun place to go. It was very grungy, very edgy. And when I say grungy, I don't mean the grunge scene from Seattle. I mean, it was kind of a dirty, gross bar. But it just had that atmosphere, and it was kind of cool. I enjoyed going there with my friends, but I would never go there again because of this guy, Joe Malkoon. Why? Because that ad is a complete lie. He says, my only hope is that Joe Biden will get elected. I don't know how much longer we could stay open. We're struggling to survive, blah, 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 blah. What a liar. All right, so there are many, and also, by the way, he, as you saw, he blames President Trump for what's going on there, when it actually is Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer's fault, and he supported the actions she took that have hurt his bar. So Joe Malkoon is a very wealthy person. He is a tech investor, and he did not earn his money from his own hard work and the sweat of his brow. No, not even close. He made it the old-fashioned way, the way liberals do. He married a rich woman. Well, technically, she may not have been rich when he married her, but the woman that he married, her grandfather died, and they inherited his zillions, his millions. I don't know how much it was, but it was in the millions, and he invested that money. He used some of it to buy the Blind Pig, that bar, and he invested a lot of it in tech companies. He is making a lot of money. He is raking it in. He is rolling in it. So that ad is a lie. He's not struggling to survive. He could stay open forever, for his whole lifetime. He's got that kind of money. It's like somebody like Warren Buffett saying, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to keep my company going. We're struggling. It's all Donald Trump's fault. And so he supported Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer's really ridiculous, obstreperous, draconian lockdown measures, which were some of the toughest in the country. And that is why, if his bar is struggling, which it probably is, that's why it's struggling. It's struggling because Gretchen Whitmer still tells bars and restaurants they can only have 25% capacity. She closed bars until recently. And the only recently was not her reopening them. It was the Michigan Supreme Court declaring that her rulings were invalid and that she did not have the power to do any of these things. Because until then, bars were restricted to having 25%, and that was only outdoors. Indoors, they could not be open. They could not serve people indoors. The only way they could serve people indoors is if more than 30% of their revenue came from non-alcoholic products, which the Blind Pig, it barely serves any kind of food. So it's his own fault. He supported these lockdown orders that actually did put a lot of businesses in a very struggling position. He also supported these lockdown measures that were extreme that put a lot of businesses out of business. A lot of bars in Ann Arbor and restaurants that don't have the resources this multimillionaire has, that are not tech investors and entrepreneurs like he is, that don't have a sugar mama and her dead grandfather to keep him afloat and fund all of his daydreams. He bought the Blind Pig, by the way, and turned it into kind of a crummy bar. Nobody goes there anymore. Not a lot of people I know anyway. And a lot of my friends used to go there all the time whenever we would reunite in Ann Arbor and so on. So he's a liar, and him saying that President Trump did this is baloney, it's false, and his saying that his only hope is that Joe Biden gets elected. Oh, really? Well, what's he going to do when Joe Biden says, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to do that national lockdown like I said I would? What's he going to do then? Well, he won't have to worry because, again, he's got a lot of money, but other people do not. So that was one ad that's completely dishonest. Now, I want you to take a look at this, which I think is the worst Joe Biden ad ever. Check this out.
For 6 months, everything is COVID this and COVID that. I lost my job because we're all trying to stay at home to get this under control. And our president does what? Are you kidding me? Look, maybe you don't like the other guy running for president. I get it. I don't like anyone right now. But could you do me a favor? Take 10 minutes this November and vote. Can you do that? Can you do that for me, please? Oh, that is it. Wait till your father gets home.
All right, so I don't get that ad. A sloppy slob who is unkempt and uses the F word like a drunken sailor is telling you to vote, has no control over her child. And by the way, she's not the typical Democrat voter because she actually has a husband. And apparently she's not much of a feminist because she tells her kids, wait till your father gets home. And she's not working. So if she's stuck home not working and taking care of this kid, why is that? Who wants to shut down the schools? The Democrats. Who wants to not work at the schools? The liberal teachers unions. Who wants parents to be out of work and not go to work because they might spread this from their kids? The Democrats. Who wants to reopen the economy? The Republicans. The president. Who wants lockdowns? The Democrats. Who wants freedom? The Republicans. This ad doesn't even make sense. It's the worst ad ever. Now, we have a lot of North Dakota stories, but we will get to them when we come back on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
He once won a spelling bee in an ancient language that he did not speak. He is the only man to ever earn extra credit on an IQ exam. His academic degrees are considered legitimate spending currency in 22 nations, 2 principalities, and at Chick-fil-A restaurants in the United States and Western Canada.
I do not always engage with education programming, but when I do, it is the Dr. Duke Show.
Stay educated with the Dr. Duke Show, weekdays at 4 p.m. on Beck News.
Introducing Accord Comfort Sleep Systems, a better way to sleep. We offer you 5 different models to give you the perfect choice of support and body comfort. Every model begins with our exclusive Accord Comfort Reflex Layer. This ensures proper spinal alignment and a deep down body relief. Our 8-inch Whisper Breeze provides a medium firm feel, and our 10-inch Gentle Night model has a quilted top, giving you a medium plush comfort. Both use Outlast fabric on the top of your mattress, ensuring that your body temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Our Copper Rest Sleep Series is our premier mattress, offering your choice of firm, plush, and luxury plush. Every model uses copper-infused gel latex and provides all the health benefits of copper. Accord Comfort mattresses are handcrafted in the USA and come with a 60-night sleep guarantee. You're going to love sleeping with us. Order today exclusively at AccordSleep.com or Tom's Home Furnishings in beautiful downtown Harvey.
You're looking for secure, private cloud storage, but who can you trust? Big tech companies don't always keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business information away from prying eyes. Your local Beck Lightband Internet Services comes with 50 gigs of Beck Cloud Backup, free. Hometown service with top-tier security to keep your data truly safe and private. Get your 50 gigs free today. Call 701-475-2361 and ask about Beck Cloud Backup.
My name is Rich Shook, and I lost my best friend in a grain bin accident.
Some of the emotional scars that when these incidences happen just resonates throughout the community like dropping a rock in a pond. I guess I'll never forget. At least the last moments we shared. That's why I think this is so important to get out there to people, is people think that it can't happen to you, and it can. The time it would take you to just kiss a loved one, and your life is over. I believe it's unacceptable.
This message provided by North Dakota Farmers Union.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So a lot has been made about the North Dakota virus rate in terms of how many new cases per day. And as we have pointed out, North Dakota tests more people per person or per capita than any other state. So of course we're going to find more cases. But guess what? We're really not in the top category anymore, despite the media sky is falling. I want you to take a look at this map. Check this out. So look at the shares of COVID cases and look at North Dakota, yellow. And if you look at the key, yellow is between 5 and 10% tests that are positive. So only 5 to 10% of the cases in North Dakota are positive from October 11th to October 17th. So that's very recent. Look at North Dakota is like most of the states on this map. We are not much higher than these states. The highest state is Iowa, which has above 40% tests that are positive. So more than 4 out of every 10 in Iowa are positive. Wisconsin, which had a very strict mask mandate, and Nevada, which also had a very strict mask mandate, they're in orange. They're 20 to 30% of the cases are positive from October 11th to 17th. North Dakota actually is very low. Now, yes, we're not in the gray. We're not under 5%, but so what? We are not the super spreader state that all the media would have you believe. It's just absolute baloney. And I want to give you some information about some of the new cases. So it was announced today that there were 4 new deaths in North Dakota as of this afternoon, for a total of 412 people who died of COVID in the entire time, since the beginning. And we've done the math before. When it was 300, we found that it was basically 4 10,000ths in the cases of North Dakotans that died. When you divide 300 by 762,000 people, and there's really 762,062 people. We rounded it down. So if you now divide it by 400 instead of 300, and yes, I know it's 410, so you would have to round it up a little bit. It's 412 cases. It's still going to be in the 10,000ths. So this is a fraction of a fraction. It's a scintilla. It's statistically insignificant, as I've been saying. But I want to tell you who these 4 new deaths are. There's a woman in her 80s from Cass County with underlying health conditions. A woman in her 80s from Cass County with underlying health conditions. A man in his 70s from Ramsey County with underlying health conditions. A man in his 60s from Stark County with underlying health conditions. So all of these people had underlying health conditions, and 3 out of the 4 are much older. If you're younger, you don't need to worry. Now, as I have said before, and I will say it again, lest anybody accuse me otherwise, if anybody says, oh, these are old people, I don't care about them, you're godless. All life has value. All life has meaning. I am pro-life before birth and until death. All right? I don't believe in euthanasia. I don't believe in saying, oh, who cares about them? Let's just throw people with coronavirus in nursing homes, infect everybody, and kill them all off. That's what liberal governors do in states like New York with Governor Cuomo did that. In Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer did that, and she won't release data that the Republican state legislators have asked her for with regard to that because she wants to hide that she's basically a serial killer. She's a mass murderer. She did this to people. We don't believe in that here at Beck, and we don't believe in that in North Dakota. Governor Burgum did not do that. And so even though, yes, there were people that died at nursing homes in North Dakota, and yes, these people are older who've gotten this, we don't believe that we don't care about them. Of course we care. But the point is that you don't have the sky is falling one-size-fits-all mentality that everyone needs to wear masks. And everybody needs to stay home, and we need to shut down the economy, and we need to restrict people's breathing and take away their freedoms because people who are older with underlying health conditions died from this. What we need to do is say, well, if people who are older with underlying health conditions have died from this, then they need to stay home. They need to abide by a lockdown. And anybody who has any contact with them has to be extra careful, and maybe they should wear masks around those people. But you can't have a one-size-fits-all policy. There are counties in North Dakota with no cases right now. There are counties in North Dakota with no deaths ever. So the fact is that you cannot have a one-size-fits-all policy. You have to tailor things to localities, and that's where local rule comes in. And in Fargo, which is the largest city, Mayor Tim Mahoney issued a mask mandate. Now, originally, there was no mask mandate in Fargo, but he actually didn't even have a vote on this with the city council. He utilized this time around emergency powers. He said it's not about science, it's not about politics, it's about health. All right? You know what? He's not a scientist and he's not a doctor, but he is the mayor and he does have certain powers. I personally believe in freedom. I don't think masks necessarily do anything. And unfortunately, people who agree with me are ridiculed like they're idiots. And that's what happened with Dave Pepcorn. So Dave Pepcorn is being attacked for some comments he made. And we want you to take a look at the video.
It's not fear. And the facts are, I'm just as protected as you are wearing that mask of COVID-19. COVID-19 passes right through that mask. Isn't that correct?
No, it isn't.
No. It is absolutely
Okay, enough public comment.
So, Mr. Chair,
Commissioner will learn not to ask rhetorical questions to the crowd.
I apologize, but basically, a virus it goes right through the mask, and so for us to start mandating something that doesn't work, that doesn't make sense. And as far as the people, okay, here's how it goes. Once again, if you behave yourselves, you can stay in the room. You're welcome to, but if you don't, you're going to be asked to leave. And if you don't leave, then the police will escort you out. Is that clear?
Let's just restore order.
All right.
Let's go ahead and make your comments, please.
The masks are not effective with the virus, period. That's proven. The coronavirus passes through. And so it's false to tell people that they're going to be safe by wearing that. And as far as sitting 6 feet apart, it's liberty. If you don't want to sit next to each other, then you don't have to. You can go someplace else or watch it on TV or on the internet. So thank you very much.
All right, so he was mostly correct, actually, despite being ridiculed. And Peter Frampton, who I don't know why we're taking advice about anything from Peter Frampton. He's a former has-been rock star, all right? He does not have any particular expertise, but he attacked Mr. Pepcorn. He said this idiot is the reason the U.S. is going up in cases and many more people will die. Really? Then what's the reason Canada and New Zealand, where they have very strict mask mandates, and Israel, why are they going up in cases? Why is that, Mr. Frampton, science scholar, medical scholar? It has been proven, this is Peter Frampton talking again, it has been proven many times that masks work. Really? Cite the studies, Peter. Unfortunately, a lot of people really do believe the bleep that this guy is spewing. Well, you know what? This guy, Mr. Pepcorn, actually is somewhat correct. He's not 100% correct. Some masks do lessen the spread of droplets. Some masks, but most of them don't. In fact, we know the fitted N95 mask lets nothing through, so that's a 0.0. We know that the virus measures 0.0 microns. We know the virus measures 0.01 microns. So most masks, the virus is going to get through. Now, if you have several layers in your mask and you have filters, yes, less is going to get through, but they're not perfect. And there's not a standardized mask, so the virus does get through. Just like we showed with State Supreme Court Justice Vanderwall. Justice Vanderwall, he wore a mask, he wore gloves. And you know what? He got it. This is just not perfect. And we talked about the CDC study where 85% of the people who said they always or often wore masks, they got it. So I have a chart, and we will look more into this. But basically, a neck gaiter does not keep anything out. And most people, a lot of people are wearing neck gaiters. Bandanas do not keep much out. A lot of people are wearing those. 2-layer pleated 3-inch, so you've got layers. Even that, and this is all from USA Today, said even the bandana, it doesn't keep things out. Or the 2-layer pleated 3-inch, it doesn't keep things out. Very few of these masks keep the virus out. So before you make fun of him, Peter Frampton and others, get a clue. Educate yourself. Look at the facts, because you don't know what you're talking about. And he actually is closer to the truth than you are. Remember, things are not always as they seem. See you tomorrow.